So what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to what's going to be a movie review. This is my take on Exorcist Believer. It came out this weekend. If you saw on the channel, I posted a short with my out of theater reaction. I wanted to give some more in-depth thought into it. So were you like me and you were praying that this was going to be a good sequel? Well, I went into it with low expectations because of everything I'd heard. So here's my take on Exorcist Believer. Let's go. So what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the JeffMan316 Pop Culture Reporter channel. I'm your host, as always, JeffMan316. And as I said in the intro, this is my review of The Exorcist Believer, a direct sequel to the original horror classic that came out 50 years ago, starring Linda Blair and Ellen Burstyn, who reprises her role in this movie. So I'll give you the cast list. This movie stars Ellen Burstyn, as I said, reprising her role as Chris McNeil, Jennifer Nettles, Leslie Odom Jr., Olivia O'Neill, and Dowd, Lidya, Jewett, and Ralph Sabarge. Yeah, that's your main cast, and it's obviously directed by David Gordon Green. He helped write it, along with his cast of friends, the usual suspects, the ones who everybody claims fucked up the newest Halloween trilogy. I, for one, like the Halloween trilogy. I even like Halloween Ends. Yeah. We're not talking about Halloween Ends here, but you can watch my review of that on the channel. So either way, so I went into this movie. I think going into a movie, the best thing to do is set your mind right. The perspective that you go into it can really affect how you enjoy or hate a movie. So going into this, I had really low expectations. Lowered expectations. I'd already heard there were problems with production. I'd already heard that they were redoing some reshoots. I heard they brought Linda Blair in. I didn't know what role she was going to take, whether it was behind the scenes, coaching up the girls. I'd already heard, that the original screenings were not the greatest. So I went into this with very low expectations. And I'm going to tell you, it really does help. I like the original Exorcist. I'm not one who thinks it's like the end-all, be-all greatest horror movie ever.
Dad, I wish you could just shut your big yapper!
But it's got some spectacular sequences in it. It's got some really good practical effects for back in the day in the 70s. And it's got some really good performances by Linda Blair and Ellen Burstyn in it. So I really liked the concept of at least bringing back one of the legacy characters. So what went so wrong with this movie? Now, I'm not going to hate on this thing and tell you that it's the worst movie ever. It's not. But what I will tell you is, and I won't give you the rating to the end, like I said, go into it with low expectations. It really does not feel 100% like it's a true sequel to The Exorcist. If they went into this movie and called it The Believers or The Believer, and you look at what the movie is about, I think one of the downfalls of this movie is it not having the two little girls that are possessed by a demon or a devil, whatever you want to call it, as the central characters. The movie, the real central character is the father that is played by Leslie Odom Jr. It's his story arc from beginning to end, how he lost faith. I won't go into the reasons why, and how he tried to regain his faith. I think that if they had focused more on the little girls and not him, so just the fact that it's his story arc, and plus you divide time between two families this time. So it's a dual possession. So you get the two little girls who get quote unquote lost in the woods. They're found. They think they've been gone for a few hours. They've actually been gone for 3 days. They tie that in somehow. I'm not going to tell you exactly why, to be more of a religious aspect, because Jesus himself died, went to hell, came back 3 days later. But what I'm saying is, though, they try to put a religious bow around this whole thing. Now, so you got one family who the father, for reasons I won't go into, is more of an atheist who doesn't believe in God, who's renounced God, who went looking for God and blamed him for things that happened to his life. You've got another family who's ultra Christian, supposedly, who supposedly has this really strong faith in God and the things that he can do or whatever. And then that faith is tested by what happens with their daughter. So once the daughters are found, I think you probably like 30 minutes or so into the movie. One of the things I thought was that the pacing was not good. There's so much that happens in the original Exorcist, but still, once you get to the core story, there's all these scenes that are memorable about what happened to Linda Blair, what happened to her mother. I could name 5 or 6 right off the bat that just come to mind when you say The Exorcist. You could probably do the same. After seeing this movie, you've already seen the body and the blood scene in any of the trailers where the little girl comes into the church.
The body in the blood. The body in the blood.
So that really wasn't anything profound. The exorcism itself in the last act has got a couple of memorable little things that happen in it, and then the end itself. But that's the problem, is there's nothing in this movie that seems unique, different than any other possession movie that you might have seen. They claim that it's the same demon that's possessing the girls, but other than mentioning her daughter's name and then saying that, you recognize me or I know you, there's nothing that really comes out during any of the possession scenes that tie right back to the original. Everything seems a little tame, I guess because of the age that we live in. They can't go and say as much of the nasty language.
You know what she did? Your canting daughter?
I guess maybe that's because, like I said, it's a little toned down for this day and age. And the fact that they're talking about doing 3 movies and a trilogy, and they spent $400 million on this movie, this franchise, that it seems like they tried to compress too much into it. They didn't let it breathe. And then it was very anticlimactic at the end. And then when it got to the very end, I could see a mile away exactly what was going to happen in that last scene. And let's just say, once you see that in the credits roll, I wouldn't worry about staying. There's nothing in the after credits. With that being said, the end credits is one of the few times that you actually get the iconic Tubular Bells theme as well. So I thought that they didn't do enough with the nostalgic hook into the original movie. Halloween, the new David Gordon Green trilogy, took the nostalgia of the original movie, embraced it, and intertwined everything about Michael Myers and Laurie into the story, the lore, expanded what Haddonfield was. This movie doesn't do that. It introduces all new characters. It doesn't have as much impact. Ellen Burstyn, bless her heart, as they say in the South, she's 90 years old. It's not like she could do a lot in this, but I give her credit for what she did do in this movie. But with that being said, there's not enough iconic scenes. There's not enough nostalgia. So instead of intertwining it and embracing the nostalgia, they use it more like a crutch. Like they knew that they had a weak-ass movie, so they put a little bit in there as much as they could afford to, or the original actors are willing to do, and it just wasn't enough. It just didn't feel like a true Exorcist movie to me. I'm not going to say that it's terrible. David Gordon Green did an excellent job. The cinematography is good. His direction is good. The pacing is a little off. Some of the scenes were filmed with some great shots, especially when the girls are in the hospital, and a couple of the scenes when they're the overhead shots when they're during the exorcism scene itself. But it's just not enough there. Maybe I'll blame his group of writers. It just didn't work. And he himself has not committed to being the director of any of the other movies or help write it. So Blumhouse, man, I hope this makes a little bit of money back for you, but you blew it.
You blew it!
Yeah, you really blew it. $400 million that you spent on this franchise. You should have really all in on the first one, get everybody hooked, and not seem like just a flat nostalgia act. So with that being said, like I said, it's not terrible. I'm going to give it a thumb right down the middle. That's because it's a decent movie, but it's not a good Exorcist movie. If I ever want to see another Exorcist movie, I'll pop in the original. So what did you think of Exorcist Believer? Let me know in the comments down below. While you're down there, like, comment, subscribe, share, do all the normal YouTube stuff. Hopefully you'll keep supporting me. I'll keep making content. I know my original movie reviews don't get a lot of views, but hopefully that'll build up over time, and hopefully you guys will start trusting my opinion. So if you do, after you like a video, don't forget to hit the notification bell before you leave, and you'll know when I post a new video, like a new movie review or an unboxing or anything else pop culture related. So I guess praying it did get me through this movie review. So if you go see the movie, like I said, pray before it, but go into it with very low expectations. So until next time, boys and girls, this has been Jeff Man 316. Your Pop Culture Reporter signing out, saying you guys be safe out there. Well, yeah, if it had more of that, I would have liked it.